Hey guys, Browning A5. The Browning A5 was designed by John Moses Browning in 1898, and it was produced until 1998. Browning initially offered this gun to Winchester, and Winchester declined, and then they offered the gun to, or the design, to FN, and FN and then made it, and that's why you have made in Belgium there. And later Remington made it as the Model 11, and Savage made it as the Model 720, and later as the Model 745. It is a long recoil action, meaning that when you fire the gun, the barrel recoils with the bolt. The bolt stays back while the barrel moves forward, and then moving off the spent case, and then that gets ejected. I'm going to try and show you if I push back on this. So there's the action right there. So this gun came in to be reblued. It's got all the bluing is kind of worn off. There's some bluing left on the barrel, up on the choke. That's all gone, and also the wood needs to be just cleaned up, varnish taken off, and an old London finish, oil finish put on it. All flaky, and this he wants replaced with just a regular butt plate instead of a recoil pad. This one's gone all wonky and soft. Okay, to take this apart, you start off by pulling the stock off it. And these Brownings have got the narrowest screw slots you can imagine. So make sure you get the right fitting screwdriver. Pull out the lock screw first. Got the lock screw out, and then you got to get the main screw out. Get the stock off. The best way to do it is to kind of hit back on the stock with the palm of your hand. You can see it opening up right there. And there we go. I don't think that's been off. Get the barrel off. Undo that. Get the cap off. Get the barrel out. And that's been assembled incorrectly. Yeah, there's the brake that grabs the mag tube and slows the action down. That's just the recoil spring, and then there's another spring in there that operates the bolt that pushes the bolt through. You can actually see it right there. Okay, to get that spring out, you push back on the plunger and push that spring through. There's the pin, and then control that spring coming out. There's the recoil rod, if you want to call it that, and the bolt spring. Next up, we need to get the trigger mechanism out by taking out that screw and that screw. I like to mark them and put them in a card so that I can put them back in the same place. That's how I mark them. Okay, those screws are out. You can now lift out the trigger. Okay, got it out off camera. This is the lifter spring. It sits on a post right there. Some of the early ones have the post on the action. So what happened here was that, I don't know if you can see that hammer pin is not flush, and it kind of got stuck in that recess, and that's what's been fighting it, not wanting to get out. This gun's never been apart. It's as filthy as can be. Next, we can take out the lifter. It's screwed in from both ends or both sides. And I don't know if it's necessary to put them back where they come out. I just like doing it that way because these screws are timed and tightened up at the cutouts on the you know, for the lock screw. So I just do it that way, and it's no real effort. And that's kind of what my card looks like with the screws in. And I'll cook them off separately, and then I'll get them back into the gun for the reblue. Now we can lift out the lifter. It's a two-piece. Some of the early guns had a one-piece, and it is as ugly as sin in there. Very nasty. Okay, next up we got to get, there's a pin that holds that block in, and you access that pin through that hole. So you need to get a long punch that can go through there, and you got to line it up right there. If you see, there's a half moon cutout there, and that half moon cutout, that's where the pin's at, that you got to knock out. And once you get that out, we can get the bolt out. Trying to get it on camera for you. There's the pin over there. There you go. Punch out. Now we can get that block out. There's a spring in there. Once we get it there, we can get the charging handle out. Push the bolt forward. Get the charging handle separated there, and we can push the bolt out the front. There's the little spring, and that's through on that pin over there, and that's the lockup over there. It's very gunky. Charging handle. Okay, so as far as the bluing is concerned, that's as far as I'm going to go. I'm going to take out that roll pin maybe. So the pre-war Auto 5s don't have roll pins over there. They've got little screws. The others have got a roll pin and the hole's drilled all the way through, and it comes out there. This has got a little machine screw that goes in there into a blind hole. The bolt release and its spring is riveted onto it, and there's the button. And they're open. Mag spray, follower, very oily. The owner of this was not shy of oil. Weird smelling oil as well. On the trigger group, I'm going to have to get the trigger out because the trigger is steel. And I could have done this all in place because I really just want to blue the outside of it. But I'm going to get bluing onto that trigger. And it looks like it's gold plated or something, but it is magnetic. So I'm going to have to get that out. that's the hammer spring screw. There's the hammer spring right over there. Trying to see what holds the trigger spring in, and it sits in under the hammer spring. Same screw holds that in, and it is got a pin over there. Okay, got it apart. There's no way I would have been able to do that on camera. So what it is that little plunger sits in there, and that's the disconnector that sits on top of that and pivots on top of that that arm. And the way it works is it's got a little trough there, and that trough sits over that that detent, and you got to push that down, and that keeps it in. And once you get that out, then I could get the spring out, and the trigger and all of that came out. Safety came out, and the safety's got a detent. It's got a ball detent, and the ball detent sits in that little hole. The ball detent sits in that little hole over there, and that interacts. The little ball detent interacts on those little slots, and there's the little ball detent. And then that center spring is what keeps the pressure on that ball so that you can click on and off safety. There you go. Got the A5 through the first cook in the pot, and that is really just to get all the gunge and grit off it and all the gunk, and it's been dry assembled, so it's just a skeleton, but all the screws and the trigger group, as well, just the trigger guard, is back in place. And all of this will be blued as a unit, or rust blued as a unit. If you don't, you end up with a white line over there, and you end up with white rings around every screw. So this way it gets blued as one piece. So I've only got 3 loose pieces to blue separately: the safety, the magazine cutoff, and the magazine cutoff spring. And the rest of it's done as a unit. After 5 rust cycles, it's all rusted, ready to go into the pot. Same with the barrel. Doesn't look like much now. Got the stock sanded and stained. New butt plate sanded in. All the old finish off. Front stock. There's 2 different types of wood between the two, so I'm hoping the stain will kind of match it up better.